Welcome to the UDP Broadcast, a podcast where four guys talk about gaming-related stuff and offer somewhat informed and uninformed opinions. I'm Luminary, and my co-hosts, the eternal barcode IMEI, and and the TheNordicCajun.
That's me.
Today we're going to end up talking about mental health related items, and it's kind of important. It's going to be with escapism to start off with, and then we're going to move on to the Ditto Hunt with the TheNordicCajun and kind of drill into that, figure out what that's about. So
just a glorious tale, glorious.
Just to set the tone. So escapism, as defined by Merriam-Webster, is the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy, which is effectively video games in a nutshell, or anything for that matter, books, D&D, you name it, that's what it is, right?
So D&D is the core when it comes to escapism outside of video games. Like, let's leave an entire world and jump into another one tonight.
I got it. We won't talk about what I do Wednesdays and Thursday nights then.
Hashtag forever DM.
Well,
oh God, no psychotic robot Stompy guy or Stompy robot guy. I like my Stompy robots.
You know,
lots of barcodes.
If D&D were a muscle, like for those that play it, the imagination muscle and the creativity muscle of folks would just be astounding. Like, I know Nordic here has been trying to go for the, what was it, the 6-inch guns? What was the thing that you were aiming for?
6-inch, holy, that's a little itty bitty there.
Oh, itty bitty? Oh, okay. It was 12-inch?
No, I was going the natural 20s, thank you very much.
You wanted, okay. So you wanted the circumference of the inside of a tire for arms. Okay.
I literally had an idea for a t-shirt that literally had just 2 arrows pointing to my arms, and it says, yes, I rolled natural 20s all day.
Good Lord, no.
But no,
ooh, sir.
No, to get there's not enough. There's not enough natural stuff in the world for me to take to get there. I'm just sitting there doing deadlifts now. I'll be that guy. I'll leave the big pythons to the wrestlers.
Nice. I do my lifting with a wine glass or a wine glass.
Left
hand or right, doesn't matter. Just double fisting.
So, but there's a lot of power inside of escapism. I mean, it's where we go when we don't want to deal with what's around us, or just to get away from whatever was around us and be somewhere else, be someone else, do something else. And unfortunately, as far as mental health issues are concerned, it could be detrimental to the person and to some very serious degrees.
Anything that's done in excess is not healthy for you, ever. Like, you can drink too much water and kill yourself.
No doubt.
Somebody did do that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was for Nintendo Wii way back in the day.
Really?
There was a radio station, I think it was in your state, Lumi, in Texas, I think. They had a contest called Hold Your Wii for a Wii, when Wii first came out. And the idea was people would come to the radio station, stand outside, be handed bottles of water, and whoever lasted the longest without peeing, because they have like a porta potty set up outside or something, whoever lasted the longest actually would win the Nintendo Wii. The problem is this person won it by unfortunately getting hydrotoxosis or something. What is it? I can't remember. It's basically they had so much water in their body, it started rupturing their cells in their body.
It thins out your cells in your blood way too much to where they can't like really stay in the capillaries anymore.
Well, there's that too, but also the cells explode because they're absorbing more and more water, and there's not enough salt in the body.
That too, yeah. So, like anything in excess can and will hurt you. That includes escapism.
Absolutely.
I think IMEI mentioned it. We were talking before the show about the parents who neglected their kids 100% to play World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah, there's cases starting or news articles starting as early as 2005, and keep in mind, World of Warcraft was released in November of 2004. So within that very short period of time, people were already just blocking out the rest of the world and focusing strictly on playing this game and being so absorbed. Their poor children were starving to death because almost every one of them that died was of starvation, which is really horrible and really sad.
That's some
But it
train
just
spotting
lends
level
the,
shit, man. Holy crap.
well, yeah, it just lends to the fact that like it's so easy when things are really really bad for you to get caught up in alternate worlds and alternate realities to the point where you, I guess, don't really come up for air. I guess the best way to put it. Like you just don't come back to reality to go look after, your own bodily functions. Looking after, any dependents that you might have or any other obligations you might have, because you're so invested in escaping whatever is going on in your life. It just makes it easier to hide in there than to do anything else.
And as being a part of the WW, the counterpart of the AA recovery of World of Warcraft myself, I y- Lumi, if we ever get to talk to Panda again, you will soon, obviously. Ask her about World of Warcraft with me. Just listen. You'll be able to hear her cringe at the microphone because every waking free moment I had when we first got married, that's all I did. I didn't have any other hobbies. I went in there, I logged in, and I put in the time. Thankfully, she broke me of it. I'm gonna give her credit. She broke me of that crap. Um, but some people can't. It's when escapism meets addiction. It's like
Yeah.
any other vice. You just cannot. You can't get away from it. It's
Uh,
it, it's a scary situation.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, from everything from child neglect, self neglect, to even
Just general obligations like paying bills, going to work on time, or school or whatever else. Like it can be very, very, very serious for some people. It can be very detrimental for people. And I don't think it's something we really address in society as much as we should. That, people like to say, oh, video games are responsible for whatever the list is you want to use this week. But at the bottom of the list, nowhere do they say or they have addiction is the root of this, and addiction is what needs to be treated. And it's really, really frustrating. As someone who suffers from depression, I use video games to escape the not so pleasant thoughts in my head that occasionally resurface. But at the end of the day, we just don't have those mental health supports that these people need.
I agree. It can be therapeutic.
And to the point of not only therapeutic, it could also be used in the positive light.
Oh yeah.
In case of me, I always tell this to people when they ask me, especially. I'll do a quick story about how this came about. My first D&D session, my first time being a DM. The day of it, my wife was harping on Lin Manuel, the guy who did the Hamilton musical, and she just was harping about how somebody like that could be so smart, how they can come up with things in detail and just dedicate their craft to it. And then that night, I did our first DM session, and we go into the bedroom to go to bed, and she looks at me and says, "Where did you find that?" I said, "Excuse me? Like, where did you find that entire story you did for us to play tonight?" I looked at her and I said, "It's been in my head for the past year and a half." Because that's how I cope. I sit there. If people think I'm sitting there staring off into space, I'm writing stories in my head 24/7. That's part of.
Hashtag forever DM.
That's right. That's right. Between actual DMing and actually writing books, I have. If I could put what I have in my head into a library, I'd never leave my room. I'd be so happy.
Wait a minute. Writing books. You write books?
I am currently writing one. Yes.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Ooh, well,
Yep.
you could care to give a little bit of spoiler about what you're writing about?
Sure. I've always had a huge fascination with vampires, and of course, vampires, the trope has been used over and over again, thanks to things like Twilight and True Blood and all the
Oh, yeah.
things back when.
Let's not mention the sparklies, shall we?
Yeah, we don't. There's a reason why he died in Harry Potter. Anyway, and I've always been fascinated with their ideal, and I came up with this world where why do vampires have to be the number one just villain of the story? Why can't they just try to exist alongside of us? Not as much as the way True Blood painted it, but to the point where they literally just live among us without using us for cattle. And the main character that I started off with in this story, he is the last prodigy of one of the great vampires of the era, and he has woken up. His last known memory being in the 1700s, he is now waking up in our time after being put into a lack of blood induced in coma by his former master, who apparently no spoilers on what happens with them yet, but he wakes up and suddenly he is the king of his providence of the new world in our time, and it's following his story of how he starts his own brood, how he expands the vampire empire amongst his states, and how he coexists with the other four kings that exist in the country.
That's actually really, really amazing sounding.
Yeah, let me know how you're going to publish that. I'll push that all day long.
I have I currently
Shut up and take my money.
I currently have 2 chapters written, but I am, like I said, I'm constantly coming up with ideas. I even made up idea for everybody out there. If you ever want to write a book, make your own Discord server. I throw ideas in there all the time for me to go back, and because I don't carry a notebook with me all the time like I used to, but
Yeah.
I have my phone next to me, and if I have an idea, I was watching Thor last night, and I jumped into my phone to write down a name of one of the 4 kings that I wanted to have before I forgot it. Discord, I'm not sponsored, just saying, get yourself a server. It helps you so much with keeping notes.
You know, that right there is also another form of escapism. You say you're in your head, and it's a good practice to do that. And you're doing it in a very creative way. And this is on top of DMing and whatever else it is that you're doing. And you're bringing your fantasies to other people, which also is very epic. I'm actually really glad to hear that. That's amazing.
That's incredibly cool, actually.
That's been one of my dreams since I was in high school. Like I love to entertain people, be it like when I was full-time streaming back in the day, to YouTube videos, to right when you invited me to come do this podcast, I was like, yeah, let's go. So if any way I can do there to put a smile on somebody's face or make their day better, or one day maybe read my book to where they can just have a quiet peace of mind for an hour, I'm all about it.
Very cool.
It's actually really, really awesome. I wish I was that creative. I'm really, really not.
Oh, you're creative. You're creative in your own way, Mr. Barcode.
Well, I gave myself, eyes, legs, and arms.
Oh, and you
a
animated it
while ago.
like
You're
literally.
jumping jacks, man. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, okay. That was easy. I used, MS Paint for that?
It is.
Fun fact, if you scan my barcode, it does say IMEI. It's fantastic.
I'm going to have to grab my phone later and try that.
Indeed. So, I actually had my own personal run-in with this whole escapism thing way back, and like I'm going to say turn of the century, and just to let you know how old I am. Mind you, my IMEI's turning 960 this year. I think I was barely turning 20, 21, something like that. So, but there was a little game called EverQuest. Have you ever heard of that game?
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were talking about WoW, and everybody's like, oh, wow. So EverQuest was really close to having a virtual DM. You made your own adventure. You were your character. You did things. You made your name on that server for your skills, even though it was predetermined by rolls and misses and all kinds of other things. Slaying gods, being a part of the largest guild on the server, whatever it is. And in my time, again, I'm aging myself now. So in my time,
in the before years.
I'm old.
Yeah, like
Get off my lawn.
well, let's see here. I guess if we're like, BWOW, so like before a while, so 5 BWOW.
Oh my
The
god.
good old days.
the EQ killer. So yeah, there was. I mean, I actually have a personal attachment to this whole escapism thing because it did affect me quite a bit. I had a decent job. I was working for one of the larger computer manufacturers at that particular point in their warehouse, shipping computers all over the planet. It was a good gig. I would go to work, and it was mandatory overtime, get home at 2, stay up till 4, and whatnot. However, it did take over. I didn't do anything else. I didn't see anyone else. So it was just me, my computer, and my fort of Dr. Pepper cans and pizza boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No bugs, but, that's just what it was. And
This is coming out of left field just because I'm my inner fat kid wants to know.
Mhm.
What was your pizza of choice?
Oh, okay. So you've ever heard of Double Dave's?
No, I have not.
Doesn't exist in Canada, so.
Okay, so they have a beef stromboli, and I think they have one near me here in Keller, Texas. And it is this long, tubular beef and mozzarella and provolone filled awesomeness with Parmesan sprinkled on top, wrapped in pastry. It is delicious. So I didn't ever really get a pizza. I got a stromboli with ranch.
That still sounds just
Interesting.
foodgasmic.
Oh, man.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was still on.
You go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, please, I insist you go ahead.
I was still on the fat boy kick. Sorry.
Can you tell me what you had on the stromboli after the race?
Well, no, you say stromboli. We had this place down here that shut down ago, and it was my favorite joint. It was Pizza Inn, and I know there's still a few hanging around, but the one in Lafayette, they had 3 things that I would get every time. I don't care what else is on the menu. I don't care what else they put on the buffet. These are the 3 things I got. I got the cheeseburger pizza. I got the stromboli, which was a dessert actually. That is dessert stromboli. It was like cinnamon and chocolate chips. It was next level. And their Bavarian cream pizza.
Mm.
Oh, wait, what kind of pizza?
Bavarian cream pizza. It sounds weird, but when I tell you that was next level dessert, I'm hungry.
We did it. We did it, and we did it without THC. Yes. All right.
Anywho, okay, fat kid moment over.
So I eventually started declining because I had nothing else to do, right? To the point where I was not seeing other people. My only outlet was the internet, with the crazy angry robot noises every time you wanted to connect.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's I'm his native language. He knows all about all that.
It is. Insert binary screeching right here.
And then that was it. I ran into some folks. I became really good at what I did. I was an enchanter, by the way. So I did crowd control, and that was when crowd control was a thing that you did. Like, it wasn't like WoW where you walked in and just AoE everything, right? The only time you ever had to really crowd control was when you had a boss and there was more than one, and you had to have like some dumbass run around in circles who couldn't be caught. But yeah,
the rogue on crack just running around.
the off tank that's just constantly taunting. Whatever works.
Never gonna catch me. See y'all next year.
Well, I mean, you had to cooperate, and so you were well known. You were in these things, and that's where I lived. To the point where I stopped going to work. I couldn't pay for the service anymore. The guild members were paying for my stuff, so there was a lot of enablement there as well. And that hasn't stopped even in today's times with all the garbage cookie cutter MMOs. But
we're going to be this year's WoW killer.
Jeez. Yeah, with microtransactions, because cosmetics and this potion, it gives you 50% extra XP. Yeah.
We're going to have to do an entire episode on microtransactions because, boy, do I have a lot to say. Holy crap.
Man.
Yep.
Microtransactions and loot boxes, and we're going to get to some of that in Cajun session here later.
Hey, that's true.
That's true, yeah.
Oh, just as a heads up, streamer mode in Discord does not work, so I apologize for the Discord pings because my family has a Discord server too.
It was working on mine. I ain't hearing nothing.
Yeah.
So there's a few
Works
things.
for me. End user error. Sorry.
There was a few things I wanted to
I'm sorry.
touch on in here, and one is the mental stability that you had when you couldn't get it elsewhere because you were getting off at 2 o'clock in the morning and literally had no one to talk to except for your coworkers and the people that you destroyed e-dragons with, and enablement in the community. But mind you, the community was still toxic. You know, get good, learn your role, et cetera, et cetera. Like, your name actually meant a lot, and people would just cast you aside. They're like, "Oh, it's that guy. Isn't he the guy that like destroyed half the zone because he ran with his underwear on?" Yeah, that's
He's the man of legend.
pretty much the OG Leroy Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the other end of the escapism, back if we're telling war stories, for me, it was more of a balancing for me because you know me as anybody else does, Lumi. I am. You might be a stranger, but you're my friend. That's how I treat you.
right.
I treat you as an equal the moment you walk in the door. I don't care where you're from, who you is. Like, hey, what's up? Let's go grab a drink. That's just how I've been since I was a kid. My mom and dad would tell me stories about me. It's really show my age. Going to old school Baptist church. And I would walk into children's church. I'd knock in the door and say, "Hi, I'm Jamie Burt. I am here." That's just how I was. I was always that way. And that didn't really translate over well once you got into normal school.
Hmm.
And I would get picked on constantly because I wasn't kidding when I said the young fat kid in me. I was as big as I was round, tall as I was round. And I would get picked on by everybody, but
Oof.
I never was mad about it to them. I never showed them that I was angry. What I would do, I would go home, I would pop in Street Fighter 2 and kick ass.
Well, there you
That's
go.
that's how I vented my anger. I would always direct it towards whatever game I was playing, be it like I said, the Street Fighters and fighting games. I would go home and play, oh my god, Jade Cocoon for hours, just hunting creatures to just I hate to get this morbid, but just imagining me just peeling their skin back to making a new creature was enough for me to get that anger out. And I never have blown my temper that I can remember. And that's just how that's how some people have to cope in terms of that term of it. There's different pieces of the pie when it comes to escapism, and everybody's story is different. Everybody
Mhm.
copes and uses it a different way.
Do you have a war story, Amy?
I'm trying to think. I do and I don't. I used to do, well, you guys know, I used to do a lot of YouTube and some Twitch streaming years ago. And for a while there, I was cranking out videos about once a day or twice a day. And I didn't realize until later that I was actually doing that because I had undiagnosed depression at the time, and it was causing me to withdraw from everything. So that was my only outlet, was to, play video games and do let's plays and get completely caught up in that to the point where I would just completely ignore the rest of the world. I would still, somehow manage to get to work on time and do all the basic requirements of living, but it was just very much, it was come home, hop in the games, start recording, crank out 5 or 6 episodes in a night, start rendering them and start scheduling them for uploads. Like, it just consumed so much of my time that now when I look back on it, it's very much that was escapism, and that was very much, I wouldn't say it was quite as far as addiction, but you probably could have classified it as that because I was spending so much time ignoring everything else in my life because I could only focus on that and I only wanted to focus on that. And that may or may not be why I broke my voice. Don't do that.
poured yourself into it so wholeheartedly that you broke.
Well, when you, I used to
Yeah.
be a lot louder, and thankfully the evidence of all those videos is now hidden from the spotlight. But I have this tendency of trying to project my voice because I'm naturally loud, and if you give me a room that'll hold like 200 to 400 people, you don't need to give me a microphone because I can make sure everybody hears me. The problem is that doesn't translate well to the internet, where my audience is my microphone. And I subconsciously have to remember to not project my voice into my microphone because that puts a lot of strain on your body to be doing it that long, especially when you're sitting down and you can't breathe properly because you're not standing up. And I would project my voice so strongly, I'm pretty sure you could actually hear it at the far end of our solar system. And when you would do that for 5 or 6 hours a night and then go to work and have to talk at work as well, like that was brutal. And I now pay the price for that. So don't break your voice, kids. Really
Yeah,
bad.
the radio signals that the aliens are getting out in space is just episodes that you've been doing for years.
Maybe,
Oh my
maybe that's
God.
what's bouncing
They
around the
all
rings of
start the
Saturn right
exact
now.
same way.
That's why
They
they
all,
haven't made contact yet. They're being yelled at.
yeah, exactly. Because they all start the same way, and you might want to plug your ears. Hey, everybody, my name is IMEI. I'm playing one kind of a video game tonight. We're going to go kill stuff. But it was way louder. It was way more
Yay.
intense. And that is really hard to do these days. But that's what it was. It was just daily, 5 to 6 hours a night doing recordings. And those were, each episode was between, depending on the game, it was between like 20 minutes and over an hour long. To be that loud and that intense that entire time is really, really hard on your voice.
Oh, absolutely. Like sitting there trying to record a song for hours on end with no breaks.
Exactly. So that was my venture into escapism, and I eventually figured that out, which is good. I eventually realized something was wrong with my head, and what was going on in my head wasn't should not have been normal for me. To me it was normalized because that's what I was used to. But when I started really exploring it, it became apparent that that's not how my brain is supposed to work. So that's when I went and talked to my doctor and was like, yeah, we need to have a chat. And that's when I got diagnosed with depression. I was like, oh, well, at least I know what's going on. So now I know how to treat it.
Now, there's nothing worse than being a medical mystery. Holy crap. I got stories on that, but that's for another day. Well, I'm glad you were able to get it under control, though. That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Freaking-tastic. Where I am now compared to where I was, 4 to 8 years ago, there's no comparison. Like these days, I am in such a great headspace. It's gonna take a lot to push me back to where I was, so I don't even worry about it anymore. Like I'm still on medication for it when I'm never stopping that because my doctor and I decided to try and wean me off of my antidepressants once. It has only been once. It was not a good time, and I'm okay with that.
It's like, so, Doc, we're not going to do that again.
Yeah, it lasted the experiment of weaning me off of them and then putting me down to 0 lasted 6 or 12 months, and then at the end of it, I'm like, no, give them back to me. This isn't good. So yeah, I'm very happy to have them because they really, really help moderate my mood. They help regulate, the ups and the downs because everyone has good days and bad days.
Oh, for sure.
But I don't get those extremes anymore that I used to. So now, a bad day is just sort of like, well, shit. Like the other day, I just dropped an egg on the ground in my kitchen. I was kind of annoyed, but that's kind of like the lows of like, oh, I got to clean that up now. Not the huge, huge lows and highs I used to get. So it's been fantastic being, treated for it. But I guess I can thank video game escapism for getting me to that point because it took me a long ass time to realize I was depressed.
So all means to an end.
So we've had some really good discussion here of the negative effects where people are dying, to neglect of children, to some personal stories with this. It's a good discussion. So let's move on to talking about the Ditto Hunt, and that's the one I'm most interested in. The Nordic Cajun had put out a video not too long ago where both him and his son were looking for a Ditto, and I think, why don't you tell us about that, Nordic?
All right, little backstory about me and everything. I have been a Pokemon fan since the 50 Shades of Grey Game Boy. I still have my original
Oh God.
red. I still have my original red cartridge of Pokemon Red here in my room somewhere. I saw it the other day. I still have it. I've been a fan of that since it came to America, and I did it all back in the day. I played the game. I watched the anime. I collected the books. I collected the cards. I played the card game. I was all in. Talk about escapism, but um, it was just something I was really passionate about, and it's always been. It always brings me happiness when I'm playing the games, when I'm drawing them, when I'm thinking about shiny hunting. It always brings this nostalgic happiness to me. Just the inner child in me just screams happiness. And when Harrison was born, that instantly moved over to him because he is. People say it all the time. He's my mini me. He's like copy paste. That's me when I was a kid, and it shows in everything that he loves to do. And Pokemon immediately came just a bit as obsession to him as it is to me. He started with Pokemon Go when he was old enough to fling the Pokeball across the screen. Uh, we actually did the whole pick your starter thing. We put the Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander plushie on the ground, let him choose. He chose Squirtle, and to this day is still his favorite Pokemon. Proud dad moment about everything with this. Um, Fast forward to recently, I had stopped collecting the cards before I even got out of high school, just because I had other things to do, sports and keeping my grades up and Joyce. We were just busy. I didn't have time for all that fun stuff anymore. But now that I've gotten to the point where I can actually enjoy hobbies again, I've been getting back into the swing of things. And it's crazy that a game that came out when I was a kid, which basically still has the same damn formula, rock, paper, scissors, across the board, depending on what Pokemon you pick, is still going stronger and stronger with each generation. And it's because Nintendo is really good at doing just enough to keep you interested. And with this new thing going on with their cards, they made a crossover event with Pokemon Go because Pokemon Go is not actually Nintendo driven. It's its own company by itself. It's just using the rights from Game Freak. They
That's
did
Niantic, right?
yes. They did a crossover for Pokemon Go and Pokemon the card game, to where you could catch certain Pokemon in Pokemon Go that show up in the cards as well. There was a Pikachu with a hat, even though they do that with every event they do. That's their staple. But the biggest thing they did was 3 or 4 certain Pokemon. If you would catch them in the game, there's a chance that it could be a Ditto in Pokemon Go. It was a Bidoof, Spinarak were the big three. The event on the phone is over, but the event with the cards I didn't know about until, well, like a week and a half ago. And I think I told you about it, Lumi. Um, the whole thing with the Dittos they did in the Pokemon game and Pokemon Go, they're doing with the cards, to the point where if you find one of these 3 cards as a reverse holo and it has a small, and I mean small, minute Ditto symbol at the bottom, it's a sticker. You can take the sticker off and there's a holographic Ditto behind it. And it has become me and Harrison's obsession to find one.
So, so for the collectors out there, how do you get that graded? Because you have to peel it off of the card in order to show that. I mean, so I'm not familiar with enough with the cards to understand it. Only some of them have the Ditto on it, and if it has a Ditto on it, it is a sticker or what?
For this event, yes. Prior to this event, you could find a normal Ditto in most packets, like it's just a normal card. Just in this specific set, the Pokemon Go crossover packs, there's a chance of finding one of those 3 reverse hollows that have the symbol on there. If it has the symbol, it's a Ditto. If it doesn't have the symbol, it's just a reverse hollow of that Pokemon. I believe collectors are trying to get their hands on duplicates so they can have the Ditto for their own collection, but leave the sticker on the other one so it can still be created.
Yeah, there was a story not too long ago where they were trying to solve the Pokemon card shortage by, and this is a brilliant idea, printing more cards.
Right? Imagine. Imagine.
It's like, huh? I mean, we could just make more of these? What? Okay, well, sure. And
But they have to be careful with that though, because like anything else, it will devalue the cards overall. Like especially if they overdo it with one certain generation, that entire generation, because of how many were printed, even down the line, they won't be worth as much. But then you have situations like what's going on with this event that is a one and done shot, and they won't reprint more once this event's over. It's over. And case in point, this is going to be a spoiler for episode 3 for you guys because we're already that far into this freaking hunt. Harrison and Joyce both opened up a pack, and they both found what's called a Radiant Blastoise. In the normal Pokemon game, you have your normal Pokemon, and then you have the shiny Pokemon that are the 1 in 4,000 chance of finding one because they sparkle, have a different color palette. That's it. It's an obsession of mine as well, but that's another story for another time.
you know,
They added those to this deck. I mean, to these packs, and Joyce and Harrison both found a shiny Blastoise each. And the reason why that's so significant is I went to go check the pricing online. They're already going for $14 a pop, just that card. And when this event's over and he gets to high school range, there's no telling how much that card would be worth. And just even if I've sold these 2 cards today, it would literally, I would still make $4 off of the whole pack that I bought. And to me, that's just insane. That a little game that I started in 1995 with the ages out there is still doing that today.
you know what they did, right? They implemented loot boxes without implementing loot boxes.
Mm-hmm. It was you can call him the grandfather of loot boxes.
Let's leave that L word out of things. That terrifies me.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, that's like the whole premise. That's like OG loot boxes,
yeah.
baseball cards, and everything else. Oh, did I get my favorite player?
Baseball cards, Magic the Gathering with all.
Opening up and seeing if you actually had it. It's the adrenaline rush. It's the dopamine. It's just the I need to know.
Yep.
And the addiction of wanting to find it, like anything else. It's just, you should see him. Like I didn't, like they were at the store, him and Joyce, and I was on my way home from work, and I get a snap on my phone, and I open it, and while I was at a red light, disclaimer, before anybody asks, and she was just looking at the camera like, Jamie, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And she points the camera at him, and he's holding that allowing executor box with the biggest shit-eating grin on his face. Like he wants this Ditto so bad, even more than I do. Like I have not. When he gets obsessed with something, it's over. Like that's it until the next thing comes up, which is a kid. I get it, but it's so funny because I'm the same damn way at 35 years old.
That's fantastic.
I love it. Like I love every second of it. But yeah, grandfather of all loot boxes. I 100% agree. You open up those things as a kid, you find that freaking holographic Charizard, you are the king of the neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
I remember that. I remember that to the day I die. Which, another funny story about that. And
I like funny stories. Go ahead.
my mom and grandmother saw my brother was just as obsessed with it as I was, even though my obsession continued on and his died off eventually. Which is weird because everything I get obsessed with, he thought was uncool, and now that we're older, he's now obsessed with most of the other things, and asks if I still catch up with it, like anime and all that, because he's obsessed with it. But back when we were, how old was I? I want to say I was in high school when this happened. Yeah, I was in high school. They went to a flea market, and my mom and my grandmother found 2 Charizards at the flea market. Um, even today, Charizards are like, you have one and it's instant cash, like instantly. But we're talking about circa 1995 to 2000 Charizard. That's the one everybody wants. That costs so damn much. If you go look online, I think a perfect rating right now is going for 10 grand. And she had 2 of them. And I was so ecstatic that because it was the only one I didn't have. At the time, I just wanted the full set. I had Blastoise, I had Venusaur. Give me the damn lizard. That's all I wanted. And we found it. And she said, "We're going to keep them safe. We're going to put them away. That way we don't ever lose them." Ask me where those things are right now.
Cajun, where are those things right now?
Not a damn clue. 20,000 possible dollars gone to the wind, just in the vapor. Like to this day, I still regret younger me not saying, "No, Mom, I'm gonna keep it in my binder with the rest of my stuff." No, I let them. It's gone.
No.
Like, I'm sad boy. I made myself sad.
Well, we certainly wish you and your son luck in finding your shiny sticker Ditto, and there better be a video on it when you do.
Dude, Lumi, I already have 2 episodes in the chamber, dude. Like, we recorded another one today because my ass bought another one of those packs at Target.
Mm.
And I actually have a large box of boosters coming in from Amazon. That was supposed to be here Friday. It was supposed to be the episode recorded, and Amazon has failed me. So we won't be getting it till Monday. And Harrison checks the door every 30 minutes. Lumi, every 30 minutes to see if the freaking thing's at the door. But no, there will be plenty of episodes, and it won't stop at the Ditto. I think this unboxing thing is going to be a thing I'm going to be doing for a hot minute.
Well, good. So that was awesome and fun. Look forward to seeing the content that comes from that. To kind of put things at an end, the EA tweets.
Oh God!
What
We're
even?
going through a roller coaster of emotions tonight, aren't we, boys?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we had the Adventures of Ray and opening cards, and we talked about escapism. Now let's talk about EA and WTF. So that tweet, what was that tweet that said, she's a 10, but she only plays single-player games, I believe is what it was.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and Twitter exploded, and they tried to recover from that, and apparently there was a lot of fallout whenever that happened. Like, there are some board directors like, dude.
Down
Did you?
here in South Louisiana, we call that crawfishing. They tried to get away real quick.
Did you see anything interesting in the tweets or have any opinions on this? I see the barcode, but he's not waving his arms.
The barcode is deactivated. Quick, rejuvenate him.
No, I'm good. Don't worry. I was talking for about 30 seconds with no response, and I was like, wait a minute, I think my mic is muted.
There it is.
I had a coughing fit, so
fair.
That the aforementioned problem of like breaking your voice, it's really hard on you. So yeah, do I have an opinion on EA saying they're a 10, but they only like playing single player games? Yes, I have a fucking opinion on this. Holy shit!
Well,
why would you say that? So EA is notorious for destroying their own games. They're notorious for putting out single player games and then treating the fan base like shit. I mean, they do that with all their games, but really the single player games, they really treat them like crap. They provide very little support for the games after it's released. They expect you just to hand them piles of money, and then they pull this bullshit. Like, Are you fucking kidding me? Like, why the hell would you do this? They actually went as far as trying to cope, and they had huge amounts of, what are the kids calling it? Copium, I think.
Copium.
Yeah, so they inhaled a huge amount of copium when they put out this gem. Roast well deserved. We'll take this L because playing single games actually makes them an 11.
Oh god,
So it was the worst, shittiest response you could possibly have. All you had to say is, "Yeah, we screwed up." Not be like, "Roast well deserved. We'll take this L because playing single player games actually makes them an 11."
They could have
Dude,
gotten
you
a
know,
minutia of respect back just by saying we'll hold the L, nothing else. But no, they had to
yeah,
go and just dig the hole even deeper.
yeah, they sound like that creepy dude at the bar who's trying to hit on every single person who walks by. And you're like, "Ugh, could you just not be here?" This is EA. Some person, some manager somewhere decided this was a great response to put out into a bullshit initial tweet. Like, the amount of slag they're getting in this thread is fantastic. And the slag they're getting on their initial thread was even better. Like, it was just insane what was going on with people and how much they were dragging them through the mud. And I don't blame them. I mean, they didn't quite get the ratio
Oh, they
as
got
of,
ratioed.
well, I mean, as of this moment, as we're recording, 16,000 comments, 19,000 retweets, and quote tweets, and 33,000 likes. So I'd call it even, but I'm not going to go through all the quote tweets and figure out, how many of them are supportive and how many are not.
So
I-
how does that saying go? The best way to stop digging yourself deeper into a hole is to put down the damn shovel.
I get
Yeah,
it.
basically.
I-
There was one person who actually put out, how are your tweets worse than your games? That one garnered 57,000 likes, so I will take that as the ratio.
Oh, there
Dang.
was a meme or a screenshot where somebody sent EA a Facebook message,
Oh
right?
no.
And it said, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you I really love Dark Souls," and EA was like, "Hey, I'm really glad you like the game, but we didn't make that." And he goes, "I know."
Damn.
But I really want to see, like you're talking about
Oh.
people defending the companies. I can't imagine being a white knight to the ever increasing vacuum that is
Of EA?
EA, Activision, Blizzard, like
Oh,
pick
God.
pick any pick any corporation for that matter, because like their whole goal is they have to make money, and their performance is based on how much more money they made that year, right? Why would
Yeah.
you defend that?
Thankfully, I haven't seen too many people, but an update on that one tweet about how are your tweets worse than your games. As of right now, because I was looking at a screenshot, as of right now, 85,500 likes.
Made that man
Nice.
a legend in his own time.
Let me solo
Like,
her.
Jesus Christ. I just don't get, like, this is the same company that holds the record on Reddit for the most downvoted thread ever, or comment ever, and that was in response to Star Wars Battlefront 2 when somebody figured out the amount of time it would take to level up a character to get a major character like Darth Vader, the amount of experience he would need, because they actually went and counted the amount of XP per pixel on the progress bar you were getting, and they extrapolated the amount of time it would take, and people lit EA up for it. And then they tried to come into there and apologize, and it just got worse, because if EA is good at one thing, it's digging a hole for themselves and then getting an excavator and C4 to make the hole bigger and deeper. Like,
What?
they just don't know when to give up.
And that was the game they were like, Anakin, you can't win. I bought the high ground.
Yeah.
Microtransactions. I purchased the high ground.
Well, think about the fact that like this is happening more and more frequently. Like lately, the big one, Diablo Immortal. Right? How desensitized are we to the fact that big companies are fucking up, and how much do we care?
I've strictly gone outside of the games that we mentioned tonight earlier with me. I am strictly indie. I try my best to stick with indie titles as best I can and stay away from AAA guys. I just can't stand them.
You got to
So,
be.
do
Can't.
you want to know just how much I hate Activision themselves? Not even Blizzard, because I used to play WoW. But do you want to know how much I hate Activision?
Oh, do tell. Grabs
I have
coffee.
had a grudge against Activision. I gotta look this up. When did when was that game released? So that game was released, I think, in 2010.
Which one?
Call of Duty Black Ops.
Oh boy.
So, Call of Duty 4, I think it was, or no, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That game I loved to death. It was fantastic. They had mod support. They had a whole software development kit, or SDK, for you nerds out there. They had dedicated servers. They had a huge community that was really involved in this game, really involved with making it more fun. I played the zombie mods. I played like a bajillion different mods, including one that gave me gave the map 3 or 4 extra aircraft for calling in air support. Like, it was amazing. But when Call of Duty Black Ops came out, that was the last time I didn't even touch Activision after that, because at the time in 2010, for you kids out there who are now, I guess, 12, oh, creepy kids, you guys skipped all the bullshit of the time when consoles and games got rid of dedicated servers and all decided that 4 or 8 person matchmaking was the shit. I remember playing. This is going to segue a little bit, or go sidetrack a little bit. I remember playing the game from Raven Software called Soldier Fortune 2, way back in the early 2000s. I would routinely end up on servers, and I would only pick the servers that had 64v64 for players. There was zero lag because that was the Quake engine. That shit rocked. And I'm used to giant games like that. So something like PlanetSide 2, there's like dozens of or hundreds of people, but it's in such a spread out area, you only see 2 or 3 at a time. That's child's play. Give me a game where I can run into the spawn with a hand grenade and blow myself up, killing half the people who spawn, and I'm in. All in on that one. But Activision decided, nope, no more SDK. It's gonna be closed source. No more dedicated servers. We want to do matchmaking only, because we just don't like the PC community. And the worst part was, Activision had just become really big around 2010, and they become really big because of the PC gamers who made them that big. Because before that, they weren't really involved with console. I think Black Ops, the first one, was their first foray even into Xbox territory. I think it was Xbox 360. And they had never really been all that involved in console before for first-person shooters. Then they put this on the console SDKs, they shut down the dedicated servers, and I said, you know what? I am never touching your shit again if I can avoid it. And I have done well for not touching Activision product since 2010. This is a grudge going on 12 years, and I'm not stopping, especially. We'll get involved in this topic in another episode down the road. The way they treat their employees and why they need to be unionized to all hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
To-
whole
to-
episode
To
in
be
and of
honest with
itself.
you, all of tech that is at a contract basis, even, it's interesting. We all talk to these developers. Every one of these guys they're not employees. They don't get a benefits package. Like, they're
Yeah, and
on
that's
for the
bullshit.
project, and then they're gone, right? And mind you, is that EA's responsibility to take care of, or should they compensate them fairly enough so that way they can sustain themselves with health insurance and all the other stuff that's coming on, which is why the union is going to be important on that fact. I mean, even like when I was driving a semi, if you went to New Jersey, you weren't allowed to unload your truck. at all. You actually had to hire a lumper, as per the lumper union, as per established and whatnot. I mean, that's just what you did. You couldn't. You would have to cut a check from your truck and give it to somebody, and they issued a bunch of lumpers to go empty your truck. And it's the same idea with these programmers and anyone like a design choice. Like, they're just the only people that are employees of EA or BioWare, or well, maybe BioWare actually has developers, but the big ones that actually take this on, it's all by contract. And once the contract is done, after the 4 to 6 years or however long it takes to make a AAA mudslide, I mean, and that's just it. And they move on to the next, and they're made completely by the name. So I'm all for unionizing, even in my scope of work. I mean, though I am salaried, it can be hard sometimes. Like, and then it's just the way it is. Right?
There is so much I can say on unionization in the IT industry and in general. We will absolutely have to shelve this for later because I will just go off, and we don't have the time in the show for this.
Yeah. Well, we had a good session. We talked about
Yeah.
escapism. We talked about the awesome shiny hunt that Nordic is doing
That's
with
pretty
his
cool.
son.
It will be mine. It will be mine.
Good luck. I'm
Uh,
really excited for you. I really hope you get that. I've never watched. I've watched maybe. Sorry, I can't say never. I've probably watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Pokemon. I just never got into it. Mostly because I'm old as hell. But I understand the desire to get something that you've coveted so long. Stairs and all the expenses he has put into a free-to-play game to get upgrades for really fun stuff on his spaceships.
Bruh,
question mark?
photon torpedoes and lasers. That's all I gotta say. Like, I'm all in.
IMEI does not fly around in a space A10 going bird. But I understand that. Like,
it's our glorious obsession to chase the shiny thing that we want.
It is. And I totally get that. And I'm really excited for you. I'm really excited to see the video of you finally getting that for yourself.
I'm more excited to see his ass. Like, he's gonna freak the fuck out. Excuse my French. Like, he's gonna see that thing, and I'm gonna have to hold him back from ripping the thing in half by accident.
I saw him attack you like right at the end of your video. It was just like, I'm a kid, look at me, Dad. And
Too sick. That too sick. Cut the camera. And then,
yeah, I saw you one there. He was trying to do that. You're like, down. I mean, this is curb the enthusiasm. But
he's just a bottle of energy, and it's ready to explode.
But we're approaching the end of the show. We've touched on a lot of good stuff. We'll start with Cajun here. Is there anything you want to say, want to plug? What are your plans?
Oh, absolutely. You can follow me on all the major handles for TikTok and YouTube, and Instagram is all TheNordicCajun. I'm very easy to find. Currently running a campaign on TikTok and YouTube to try to get a certain follower and subscriber base to try to go even to more deeper into the Pokemon realm to do a 12-hour Pokemon shiny hunt challenge.
Oh my god.
If I reach those numbers by the end of the month, we are doing that 12-hour stream. And if I lose, I have to do the 1-chip Pocky challenge.
The what pocket challenge?
Pocky, P-A-Q-U-I, Pocky. It's
Okay.
this the world's hottest tortilla chip.
No.
Yeah.
No.
If I lose the shiny 12-hour hunt, I have to eat it. That's the whole. That's the Yukina challenge. That's what it's supposed to be.
No.
I kind of
I
want
have
to see it.
nope. You can have all my nope, sir.
I mean, you can ask Lumi. I'm not afraid to do a hot challenge. Last time I streamed, I did a 7 scorpion death pepper wing challenge, and that was.
Man, the sweats from that is making me sweat. That's crazy.
Nope.
IMEI, I think you're returning to content creation. Do you have any plans for your channel and want to talk about what you're doing?
I'm going to be hosting a copy of this broadcast as well. So it'll be over on youtube.com/IMEIGaming. I am uncertain whether my lungs and my vocal cords can handle me playing video games at this time and recording more content for that. So we'll see. I'm not going to make any promises, but right now, just assume it's a no. But you can also find me on Twitter at twitter.com/IME21. I will warn you, I am very turbo liberal. If you don't like that, screw you. You're not gonna last long around me, and it's goddamn hilarious to me.
I don't know if you heard it or not, but that was the blow off valve from the turbo. Just,
Yeah, I'm insanely pro union, and we'll touch on that on another time. And yeah, there are some people who meet me and talk to me, and they're like, "But you like guns, and you're a liberal. How does this work?" And I'm like, "Dude, I like human rights, and I like things that go Bert."
just for your information, though I'm a barcode and somewhat human in this skin, um,
I have a flesh bag.
I have
Gonna be
common
fat.
sense. I'm allowed to like both.
Indeed.
I just imagine that guy from Men in Black that took the human skin just walking
Yes.
around, and that's just
Yeah,
him.
that's exactly it. Like inside of, what the hell's his name? It's bugging me now. But yeah, inside this this thing I call a flesh bag or a meat bag is a barcode, and the meat bag is a meat bag, so it kind of gets into trouble and gets hurt every now and then, which is annoying. But
It's a painful necessity.
exactly, stupid bodies, stupid humans, squishy.
Just upgrade or upload our consciousness to the almighty Omega, and let's just
Oh
be
man,
done
if
with
I
it.
could be a Borg, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah. On my
Lumi, what about you?
Well, on my side, my life has been pretty much putting this podcast together and creating the best time 3 to 4 people could ever have at any given point.
You've
And
done a fantastic job with
Yes,
all
thank you
this,
so much for putting this all together.
all this design work, all the auto checks, all this. This is all Lumi's brainchild. We're just babysitting at this point.
hey, you know what? As long as you're
Figuring
having
out how to
fun.
get the bouncing icons, like that was awesome.
Dude, just the flappy arm barcode is just making me laugh every time I look at it. I'm pretty sure when you review this footage, you're going to do the same thing. Like, that is pretty cool.
Oh, I've kept the stream open just for the barcode.
Oh yeah, I've got it muted, and I'm just watching myself bounce up and down, and I'm laughing my ass off.
Oh man, but yeah, that's it. I do plan on making some other content. I'm not exactly sure what. For now, it's going to be cutting shorts from our podcast and pushing our podcast wherever it needs to go. So that's effectively what my life is going to be until I decide to do something else. I want to do vlogs or whatever else. But until then, it's UDP Broadcast and streams at 10:30 at night, any night but tonight, just with chill streams and talking bullshit. So that's about it.
Who knows? Maybe I can pull Lumi out of retirement. We can do some gaming now and then.
Well, there you go.
That's
I can run you through Borderlands 2 again and just murder everything.
Well, if you think about it, what I could do is, and I did it for you before, Cajun, and that is we could do stuff like that, and I could just highlight the footage because the highlights will sell more than anything else. Like, who wants to sit there and watch an hour and a half of Let's Play of Derp just to get the funny bits? Just give the funny bits. We could do it the same way.
Oh, that'd
You'd
be
be surprised. People loved watching me mine stuff. When I used to have my series on Empyrean Galactic Survival and Space Engineers, the videos where I was doing nothing but mining got more views than any of the other ones, and I don't understand why people like to watch me sit there digging a hole.
Yeah,
Probably the same reason why people love to watch me drinking a Four Loko and trying to be Bloodborne bosses.
We're also talking about the same audience who will watch somebody lick one of those ASMR mics with the ears on it, all the way to watching a goldfish play Pokemon.
Wait, what?
Dude, that blew my mind. Like,
I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Oh, there was
it started with Twitch plays Pokemon, which was a phenomenon in of itself. But the goldfish, I was like, okay, now we've gone too far.
Well, I think the most exciting thing I've seen on Twitch, and it will forever be the most exciting. I wish I remembered the name of the creator, but they were playing Dark Souls with a steering wheel.
I saw that.
That was so long ago, and she was sitting there. She had both hands on the. No, it was a lady. She had both hands on the steering wheel. She's just driving along, and everyone's like, "How are you even doing that?" She goes, "Well, this is what this does, and so forth." So you could only really go straight. So the accelerator. Probably.
I'm actually gonna have to go look that up now.
You should. I hope the VODs or at least some footage of that is still up because it was pretty epic of her just doing that. I can't remember if she beat it or I think she did beat it. I'll have to. I don't remember. But yeah.
To be fair, I am not above going back and getting Elden Ring and grabbing some drinks and doing it all over again. I'm not above it. I will do it. If it'll make somebody laugh, I will do it. I'm literally just a monkey with symbols. Let's go.
That's my favorite. All right. Well, other than that, let's go ahead and shut this down. We have been the UDP Broadcast. I'm LuminariWeekly.
I'm the NordicCajun.
My name is IMEI, and I do stuff.
And we are the modern day Three Stooges. Welcome.
Indeed. We'll see you next week, Saturday at 10:30 Central Standard Time. Again, thank you for joining. And have a wonderful night.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Have fun.